It's lovely to be here with Tom Denford from ID Comms. Are you having a good week so far?
Yeah, it's been a very, very busy week, actually, busier than normal.
Is that by any chance because of the ANA findings?
It's been pretty back-to-back in terms of calls and speaking to particularly clients that are curious to know what the implications of the report are and what they should be thinking about. So we've been pretty much back-to-back. I think my mobile has died. Somebody pointed out earlier that it's completely given up, so it's that's frazzled completely. Lots of questions, obviously, around the report and speaking to various different journalists and interested parties.
Is it as bad as it looks, superficially, the report, would you say?
I mean, it was very comprehensive. I mean, the quality of the analysis for us has been very impressive. It paints a very bleak picture of the US market. And I think the most important kind of component of that is that the assumption was, or the message has been for many, many years, obviously, that the US was a zero rebate market. And so I think a lot of people would probably have found the content of the report this week quite shocking, actually, even if it was telling you things that you kind of knew might be the case. I think the most interesting thing, I mean, the ANA or K2 Intelligence, the company that obviously produced the report, used the word pervasive. I don't think people quite expected that they would find that much evidence of that much different types of activity across, in their words, the spectrum of agencies. So it was lots of types of agencies, and also that they found evidence across multiple different media types as well. So it wasn't just, the fringes of some kind of nascent digital media opportunities. I mean, they found and presented evidence of TV, radio, and outdoor as well. And I think that would have been quite a challenge for a lot of people.
But they haven't been naming names. It's quite a general. It's kind of, it could tar everyone really with the same brush. Do you think that's the way to go, or do you think they should be naming names?
Well, I mean, it was defined in the scope of the investigation or the study that K2 had conducted. I know that there are lots of parties out there currently that are saying, you cannot make these broad accusations. It was never in the scope of the study itself to identify individuals. And the reality is that if they'd said that individuals would be named and companies would be named, then of course they would have gathered no evidence at all, the likelihood. And I think it's particularly the agency groups and their trade association in the US, the 4As, are now calling on the ANA to make clear and provide more transparency on actually the individuals or the companies involved. But you can imagine that those same agency companies, if the ANA was to disclose names, they'd start their own investigations internally against those people. So I don't expect at all that the ANA will be considering releasing any further detail, I don't think, beyond what they've released in terms of what they've found.
Where do you think we're going to go from this, though? What's the next step?
It's a good question. I mean, it looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better in terms of the quality of relationship between advertiser and agency. It was in a pretty bad place anyway. I mean, we did some research earlier this year looking at what were the drivers of trust and transparency between when it comes to the relationship between advertiser and media agencies. And one of the things that highlighted, which the ANA report actually referenced as well, the research that we'd done, was that how agencies make money and how agencies deal with vendors, how agencies manage rebates, were the real drivers of trust and transparency. So, those are things that we kind of knew already. The report has given us all some, pretty, substantial evidence and account for these practices now. We have to now figure out somehow how to start rebuilding for the future. At the moment, battle lines are clearly being drawn, and they're being drawn in public between the ANA and the 4As, between advertisers and agencies. But it's the brands and the marketers that now have to make some change of some form. They need to review and consider, obviously, these findings. I think the most important thing is, and this has been our advice to clients this week and in the things that we've put out there, is to really just look at the contract, because the contract will either protect you or expose you to this practice. And so you obviously want to make sure that you're sufficiently protected. So the first step would be just to look at contractual language, and that's what I think that's the beginning, I think, of a rebuilding. But it's going to take some time.
Other story in the news this week has been Wall Street Journal's subscription model and also the YouTube Red. Yeah. Do you think that is the way that publishers are going to have to go these days?
To subscription models? Yeah. Well, potentially. I mean, it could mean that the ad model is just not providing the sufficient revenue. We've always thought that, I mean, as content owners ourselves, right, that if it's good enough, people might be prepared to pay for it eventually. So I mean, I think paid for models or tiers of access to different content makes a lot of sense. I don't know that many brands or many media brands have got the model right, perhaps. You've got generations of people who just think now that content somehow just comes to you for free, like by magic. And I think to differentiate that there's either an ad-funded version of getting that content, or you pay, and making the differentiation in the market is probably it's a good education job, isn't it, for consumers? And we'll just have to see which model plays out. I'm
not a football fan, but a lot of people are talking about the Euro Championships. Yeah. Do you have any tips for the viewers?
Tips for viewers in terms of what?
What do you expect? Or are you not a football fan?
No, I'm a big football fan. It's come around really quick, so I can't believe it's actually it's about to start. I've no tips other than the fact that my wife is Ukrainian and one of my best friends is German, so we're getting together on Sunday night to watch the Ukraine versus Germany game. So that's kind of something that I'm looking forward to.
Well, I got Ukraine in the office sweepstakes, so I'm going to be siding that way. You're off to Cannes next week. I'm off to Cannes next week. I've never been before. What are your tips to me for surviving my first Cannes?
Well, don't go, first of all, would be the way to survive it. It's a bit bonkers. Whenever we talk about Cannes, think about Cannes, or we're there, you're kind of confronted with how ridiculous in some ways this whole kind of thing is. That the entire industry has to physically go to a place in the south of France.
That the French media don't actually care about.
Yeah. It was a kind of a strange choice of location. So logistically, it's complex for the agency. It's a huge distraction. Everybody's just talking now about Cannes the 2 weeks before, then you're there for a week, and then everyone takes a week or two to recover. Yeah. So the industry loses a month distracting. So, I mean, on that basis, it has to be valuable. I think one of the biggest challenges of Cannes over the years is that it's been somewhat self-indulgent, and it's a big exercise in kind of backslapping and self-congratulation, or just a great kind of party excuse. And sometimes it's just a good excuse to, whisk your clients off somewhere that's quite glamorous and spend some quality time. But I think it has to have a much bigger purpose than that. It has a creative heart, and I think that's coming back, which is really good. From my perspective, I'm really pleased to see that media is playing ever increasingly influential role at Cannes and being celebrated in the right ways. But the thing I think is still missing is that we've got some of the best brains in the industry. We don't often get a chance to all get together. I mean, this really is the one time of the year where you've got some of the world's best CEOs, some of the world's best strategic thinkers, some of the world's most creative people. What an opportunity to really tackle some of the biggest issues that are facing the industry, whether that's transparency in media as one, lots of talk about, fraud and ad blocking and all these kind of different, intricate areas, through to, big challenges the industry's got on talent, for example. Big challenges the industry has on, creative quality and process. So it would be nice if we had the opportunity at Cannes to not just connect and congratulate and drink a lot of champagne, which I'm sure you will be doing, as many of us will, but use it as a power for good. And it would be great to see more of that in Cannes, and hopefully
get some good content out of it.
Yeah. we'll get good content out of it. We'll be there with our film crew as well. We'll be down on the Croisette doing some interviews. So we'll be doing some special recordings whilst we're there. Make the most of it. The sun's shining.
Yes. That sounds like a good plan to me. Well, it's lovely chatting to you, and I'll see you in Cannes.
Couple of weeks, yeah, indeed. Cheers.